So let's get started with the lesson. Finding trig functions of any angle. We can use the given pieces of information about a particular angle theta to find the value of all 6 trigonometric functions. Again, we know SOHCAHTOA. That's one thing we must know. And I'm going to again talk about my reference triangle. My reference triangles are always looking something like this. My angle, that's theta. It's between the x-axis and your terminal ray. No matter where you are, as I said, it's going to look like a wing of a butterfly, right? So these are your reference, these are your reference triangles, and that is your angle theta between the terminal ray, which is this, and the x-axis, right? And if you drop a perpendicular, you get a right triangle. That's the whole idea of it. Another thing that we need to know is ASTC. What does that mean? All trig functions are positive. Only sine is positive and its reciprocal, which is cosecant. I'm going to write CSC. That's written as CSC. Then tangent and cotangent are positive in the third quadrant. Means what? The other 4 trig functions are going to be negative. And cosine and secant are positive in the fourth quadrant, meaning what? Sine, cosecant, tangent, and cotangent are going to be negative. Okay, so now how do we do these questions? Again, it's the same idea, but we're given a little bit more information. It's not very straightforward. We just need to extract it from there. So given tangent theta equals -5/4. First, and cosine theta is greater than 0. Greater than 0 means positive numbers. Think about your number line. That's your 0. All numbers greater than 0 are positive and less than 0 are negative. So be very careful. We need to understand how to read this. So cosine is positive and tangent is negative. So now I'm going to write my ASTC. Where is cosine positive? Cosine is positive in what? The first and the fourth quadrant. But where is tangent negative? Tangent is negative in the second and fourth quadrant. So basically I got 2 checks in the fourth quadrant, so my triangle is gonna be in the fourth quadrant, right? That's how you determine it. Or if you don't want to do the checks, you can just understand by looking at the signs. Where is tangent negative and cosine positive? It's only in the fourth quadrant. So I know only if we're in the fourth quadrant, only cosine is going to be positive and secant. So I want to write the value of all the remaining 6 trig functions. So let's draw our reference triangle. So how do we draw this reference triangle? Remember, the ratio for tangent is what? I'm going to write my SOHCAHTOA here. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. So this is opposite and that's adjacent. So it's going to be 5 over and 4. So I'm going to have, if I was to scale, like, it's going to be a very small triangle. Let me zoom in. So it's 5 downs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 downs. So it's going to be 5 over 4, right? So it's like somewhere here. So that's what my triangle looks like. Again, it's between the x-axis and the terminal line, right? That's my angle. Opposite is 5 and adjacent is 4. That's how I did that. And that's right triangle, right? So if I zoom in, it looks like really tiny. You don't have to really draw an accurate ones, but since this axis was already scaled, might as well draw it, right? So now what do? Always drawing the pictures your first part. The second part is to do what? Use the Pythagorean theorem to find the third side of a triangle. Remember, your c square is missing, so it's going to be 4 square plus 5 square equals c square. So 16 plus 25 is what? 41. So c is equal to square root of 41. So it's hypotenuse. We're going to just talk about our principal root. So now I want to write all the 6 trig functions. Again, remember, only cosine and secant are positive. Rest everything else is negative in the fourth quadrant. So before I even do the ratios, either you can remember it then, or remember these all are going to be negative, only cosine and secant. So once I know these three, I can just flip them and get the remaining. So now sine is, I know this is rad 41, we just found that. So sine is what? Opposite over hypotenuse. So it's going to be negative 5 over rad 41. You want to rationalize it, so how do we rationalize it? I'm going to zoom in so I can show it to you. You multiply and divide by the radical. So this is equal to negative 5 rad 41 over 40. Rad 41 times rad 41 is rad 41 square. So the square and the square root cancel out. So we're just left with 41. Okay, so that's what it's going to be. That's how we rationalize it. So the cosine would be what? Adjacent 4 over rad 41. Rationalize it. You're going to multiply by rad 41 over rad 41. And you end up with what? 4, and it's going to be positive. Remember, cosine is positive over 41. Now tangent is opposite over adjacent, so it's what? 5 over 4, negative 5 over 4. Now once you know sine, right, I'm going to go to the original, I'm not going to go to the rationalized one. Can I not find cosecant? It'll be what? Negative rad 41 over 5. Secant would be this, rad 41 over 4. And contingent will be the reciprocal of this, or flip it, it'll be negative 4 over 5. So this is how you do these questions. The same idea of lesson 1 and 2, but it's combined together. So I want you to finish up the remaining lessons. Good luck, guys.